The average number of federal agency rules issued for every law that was passed from 2007 through 2017 was 27, meaning there's a 27-to-1 ratio during that 10-year period of rules, regulations, mandates forced on the American people by unelected, unaccountable bureaucrats for every law that was passed by Congress. You know, the people's representatives, those entrusted and empowered by the Constitution with lawmaking responsibility and authority. And as I think you would agree, as a side comment, that's why, by the way, the REINS Act is such a critically important component of the Limit, Save, Grow bill. The REINS Act, which would require that congressional vote on every major rule that's passed of impact of $100 million or more. Isn't that crazy? We only consider it major unless it's $100 million. And I will also just point out, we are spending, this is important for the larger issue that we deal with in this committee, our budget, federal budget, $6 to $7 trillion. The president wanted to be $7 trillion, a record budget this year. It's been a little over $6 trillion the last couple of years. That's $20,000 per citizen on an annual basis. Everybody in this room, your share that if you pay a purport, you got to pay $20,000 for your federal government this year. That's not per taxpayer. It's what, $50,000 per taxpayer? $60,000 per household per taxpayer? For what? What in the heck are we getting from our federal government at an individual cost to that effect? And let me just go ahead and pause and make that a question. Let you comment on that, Mr. Cruz. What are we getting for our share of $20,000?
Well, I'll make the point. By the way, you can still get $1 cup of coffee at Scotchman if you still need to do that. But that index, that ratio of the numbers of rules to the numbers of laws that Congress passes, we kind of jokingly call that the unconstitutionality index. Regulations do a lot of different things, and you all have talked about the ones that are good and the ones that are bad. All that's a great discussion to have. But you've got regulations that are economic in nature. You've got some stuff that's just paperwork. You've got environmental. You've got health and safety. You've got a new surge now in social regulation and social programs, especially after COVID, in the wake of the things like the rental extensions and things of that sort. But people are getting different things for it. But I think the notion of getting together and looking at things we can do to grow the economy and reduce regulation, remember, your choice is never no regulation. That's one thing I think we really need to get across. Your choice is always between political disciplines, regulatory disciplines, and then competitive disciplines also. You can have an agency write a rule, but that's not necessarily a good regulation. Capitalism doesn't mean companies just run around doing whatever they want to do. In free markets and free enterprise, you've got a company with upstream business suppliers, downstream business customers, consumers, Wall Street, advertisers, the media. They're all sort of forces that regulate. So when you say, what are we getting for all that regulation? I think in a lot of cases, not what we should be getting, because we might be doing things wrong, incorrectly, and especially in emerging technologies and emerging businesses and emerging companies. This notion of spending hundreds of billions of dollars on EV charging stations. I was asking someone at the Consumer Electronics Show, I said, well, okay, so you're doing these stations, well, by yourself? I said, what are you doing to also add in cell tower cells and things like that? So how are you working with other infrastructure owners to do it? So right here on the cutting edge, when you all are talking about saving money and not expanding government now, you've got an opportunity to really wall off the future from the way we're regulating in the past and consumers not getting much from it. In artificial intelligence, in new electric vehicle charging stations, and all of these new technologies, we're going down the regulatory path right now. And consumers are not going to get good deals out of it, I think. So I think the notion of the Article 1 Reg Budget Act 2 in addressing some of this and deciding what should the economy spend on regulation? I mean, that's a serious question that you all have to think about. You know what federal spending is now. You know what the debt and deficit are now. How much do you think you're willing to put into regulations? And I think that it's what the economy can stand, and it's what consumers will get out of it.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz, for being here. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.